Good evening, good evening, good evening, everybody live. Good evening. How's everybody doing today?
Wonderful.
Fantastic.
Good, good, good. Today we're doing a live broadcast during this second week of April. Last weekend we had opening day for baseball. This Thursday will be the 74th anniversary of Jackie Robinson breaking the color barrier in baseball. I thought it was appropriate we just have a discussion on the state of the African American as relates to baseball today. I've invited a few local area coaches, parents, scouts, uh, former players to tonight's conversation. And let's just start off with the introduction. Corey, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Uh, Good evening, everybody. I'm Coach Corey Goodwin. I am the head varsity baseball coach at Baltimore Polytechnic Institute. I am entering my 20th season um, with the program and my 17th as the head coach.
Very good. Troy.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Troy Stokes Sr. I'm a native Baltimorean, played baseball, Fospot, Little League, Woodlawn Rec. Um, I am the director of Swing for More, which was started by myself and my son, who's currently with the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Very good. Congratulations, Troy, on that feat. That's an awesome hurdle. Okay, we're going to start off tonight's conversation with a few questions. And man, actually, I got a lot of questions, but let's start off at the most prevalent one from my perspective. What are you guys' thoughts on MLB leaving Atlanta? That's kind of a heavy shot, but that's how we're going to start it. Go ahead, Corey. What you got?
Um, I get it. I get it. I'm kind of indifferent. I mean, I understand the political um, nature of it all. I truly understand. But those things don't really impact me personally. So kind of indifferent about it, but I do understand the what the MLB's. I think I understand their messaging that they won't support certain things.
Very good, very good. Troy, what's your perspective on this subject matter?
I was actually happy to hear that MLB stepped up, along with some other organizations, corporations that you got your airlines and different larger corporations who decided that they were going to make a statement about it. Now, as far as the MLB moving out of Atlanta, my only concerns have to deal with the Black community. Atlanta, as you know, is like a mecca of entrepreneurship, clubs and restaurants and everything going on. So I became concerned as to what the impact was going to be on the Atlanta business community. But overall, I understand. I kind of wish that they had moved it to another metropolitan city that kind of looked like us. I'm not too sure about where they moved it to.
Well, that's a good segue into my next question. Do you think Baltimore, either one of you can answer this, do you think Baltimore would be a good alternative site?
I guess it could have been. It's kind of like a done deal now, but yeah, Baltimore would have been a good site. I think that we've built up since the last. When did we host the All-Star?
93.
93. Yeah,
93.
we've had a lot of we've made a lot of major developments here that I think we could have supported it. The restaurant community, the hotels. Yeah.
I don't know because of all of the restrictions that we have in place here. I know it would have been good for our economy to a degree, but I don't know if it would have been a full scale all-star event as it typically is with before COVID. It probably could have benefited the economic state of Baltimore, the state of economics in Baltimore, but I don't know. I don't know if it would have been as big as it would have been in typical years, but it would have been nice.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
just
my feeling is the same.
one comment to that. I agree, Corey, but I'm not so sure that it would benefit anywhere to have. I mean, we're talking about a couple months from now, but we're still in a state of needing to do certain things. So if we, if we moved it to a state where they didn't have restrictions, I'm not sure whether that would have been a good move either. And a couple months after the All-Star game, this is just a rough year. Last year was a rough year, and this is going to be a rough year for a lot of events such as that.
That's true. That's so true. Well, my ideas and thoughts for moving in here, I thought it would have been a great opportunity to reignite the celebration of the 100th year anniversary of the Negro Baseball League, which really didn't get its due surface celebration from my perspective during 2020 because of COVID. Basically, from my perspective, all MLB did in celebration to the 100th anniversary of Negro League Baseball was have players wear a jersey and put a patch on their sleeve. I mean, I didn't see no economic empowerment, no economic infused dollars into our community as a result of celebrating the 100-year anniversary of Negro League Baseball.
Yeah.
Got a few more out there.
Yeah, I have my expectations have tempered dramatically over the years in terms of that. Just locally.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you, but I honestly don't know how else. I don't know what else it could have done, because we made a big impact on this years ago, but we don't support. I'll explain this later. We don't support baseball like that.
Well, let's talk about that. We'll talk about that later on in the conversation. Okay. We got two more people that just joined us. Coach on the left, Bill. You got your mic on? You in?
No, I guess I want to say I was in Kansas City.
He's free.
Want me to go?
Go ahead, Rob.
I was listening to what y'all was saying about Atlanta, Rob, man. We're here. I'm here in Atlanta. I'm from Baltimore, but I'm here in Atlanta.
Hey, Robert Scott, introduce yourself, Rob. You didn't get a chance to introduce yourself. Go ahead, Rob. Introduce yourself.
Okay, I'm Robert Scott. I think he's trying to come in. You want me to go or what?
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead. He look like he's freezing up.
All right. I'm Robert Scott.
I think you should take that speaker out.
I live in Atlanta, but I grew up in the Woodlawn area. Went to Woodlawn Junior High. Went to Poly. And then I came to Morehouse, and that's what brought me down here to Atlanta. Been here for quite a while. I know a lot of people that are from Baltimore that live here. It's a trip because I coach baseball too, and I coach quite a while. I played my baseball in Woodlawn and my travel baseball in Reisterstown. When we moved from Woodlawn, we actually moved to Owens Mills, and I wound up getting into the whole Reisterstown thing. It was like maybe me and this kid Dante Hines were the only two black kids on the travel team. But we were the ones that stuck with baseball all the way through high school. But we stuck with summer ball, travel ball. That's different. And Troy, Yep. I know what you're going to do because I was just looking your son up. I was telling a friend of mine, you're not really going to go anywhere as far as Division 1, 2, or the pros if you don't have a perfect game ranking. So, had to roll our kids in the perfect game, and luckily we got perfect game in this state, but it puts a lot of travel on kids playing in those perfect game tournaments. We mix that in with Triple Crown, and I got out of 36 kids I had, man, I got two that actually made it through. One is in AAA with the Texas Rangers right now, and Kyle is with the Seattle's Mariners. He got called up 2 years ago. So it's a tough road to do that, man. When them kids choose that to do, it could end right there in minor league ball, man, because they don't try to develop us, man. It's not like back in the day when they were trying to develop us. I mean, my boys, we won RBI championships thinking RBI was doing something, and RBI wasn't doing nothing. And I was slow to get the perfect game, man.
Okay, Rob, very good. That's a great introduction.
A whole different world, man.
Let me get you.
I'm sorry, I was supposed to be introducing myself.
You did it.
I coached the game. A few kids that play it and still play it. 32 out of 36 went to college ball. 18 play college ball.
Rob, with you being in Atlanta, we had just spoken on the repercussions of Major League Baseball moving All-Star game from Atlanta. Realistically, and a few of our coaches made comments that they hate to see the economic ramifications with Black businesses in the Atlanta community. Mm-hmm. What's your perspective on that? You're in Atlanta. I mean, how many Black businesses are actually doing business surrounding the new location of the Atlanta Braves Stadium? Because my understanding, that's not in the African American community.
Hardly any. To be honest with you, hardly any. Right. They ain't really phasing anybody. It just hurts that it was. We were doing a recognition to Hank Aaron, and Hank Aaron has a statue at the stadium, and this is his home city. And them taking it out of the city, they still gonna do it, but that was one thing that everybody wanted to do. And like you said, the Negro League thing, that flavor, like how because of COVID, we missed it last year. That whole thing, we missed out on that. But what that really was a knee-jerk reaction to all of the work that Stacey Abrams had done. She hunted his ass down because he got in the office using voter suppression tactics. It wasn't an even playing field. People went to polls and were turned away. They actually went to vote, and he had closed polls down, for one reason or another, that he was legally getting done because he was the Secretary of State. And the Secretary of State is in charge of the voting process. And he was trying to run for governor, and he knew that she was going to win.
Yeah, I understand those political ramifications. I'm trying to keep this on the baseball vein because our time is limited. I appreciate that insight, though, Rob. Let me give you guys a few questions to ponder, and then I'll come to you one at a time and just have your input. One, Major League Baseball currently has only 7.8% African American players. That's been a slight increase from 6% over the last 10 years and 28% during the 70s. So what are your thoughts on the demise of baseball in our community? Basically, what do you contribute it to? And I'm going to give you these examples. Do you contribute it to the lack of adequate and competent coaches within our community? Do you contribute it to the increase of a single-family household parent that knows anything about baseball? Do you contribute it to the increase of popularity of seven-man football and AAU baseball? Do you
the cost of maintaining the facility?
11.7 scholarships to every 35-man college baseball team. I mean, those are just a few of the things that's contributed to the demise of our presence in Major League Baseball. So with those being said, Corey, what's your thoughts?
I think all of those things play a factor. I don't think there is. I don't think we do a good enough job of getting to those kids early and keeping them engaged. Locally, we'll see a lot of little leagues falling apart. You know, they have good T-ball numbers, but after the T-ball season, you know, after the T-ball age, the numbers kind of drastically decrease. So I think there are a lot of things that play a part. The aesthetics of it, you know, locally, I can only speak of. You ride around town and you look at some of the fields, and it doesn't draw a kid's ire. It doesn't get their attention. Versus all these turf football fields that you'll see, and basketball being all played in plush gyms. So just not something that appeals to one, I think the single mom. And I just locally, I just don't think we have that that local athlete that looks like us that we can identify with, that our kids can identify with. And I think that plays a part. Growing up, I was always Eddie Murray in the alley. That player does not exist locally for our kids. So a lot of that stuff plays a factor into why, you know, baseball is kind of losing its popularity within our community. So all of those things that you said are contributing factors. You can't just pinpoint one, but this show needs to be 3 hours to get to the bottom of that.
Yeah, no doubt. It definitely does. For us to get to the bottom of that. Troy, your thought?
Yeah, I want to say real quick, I'm not sure if somebody's mic is like running away. But anyway,
if you're not going to talk, please mute yourself while you're listening. Thank you.
I think that money. Baseball is not a cheap sport. Somebody once said to me that you can put a football team. You can have 11 kids, entertain 11 kids with a football, or I should say 10 kids with one basketball. With baseball, you'll learn real quick that your son or daughter with softball has to show up at the field with their own equipment. And at one time we used to joke about, you know, you pick up a bat and say that bat didn't have enough money in it. So you were spending $300 and $400 for a baseball bat. The other thing I believe, when I say coaching, I don't mean coaching the skill level of the coaching. I just think that we don't have enough coaches who are connected or who understand what the next level is about. One of the things that we tried to do is have coaches take kids so long, and once a kid got to a level that was beyond what you could do for them, turn them over. There are several major travel league teams that I've talked to that say that it's hard for them to come in and get those kids because a lot of the coaches don't want to let them go or they're hidden. You talked about the college, the scholarship. Baseball, unlike football, I can get a full ride being on the practice squad at University of Maryland football team. Full ride. Baseball, I'm lucky to get, if I'm anywhere close to 75% of my tuition, that's because they think that I'm going in the draft. If they think I'm going in the draft, they continue to increase that percentage. But when they do that, of course, they're taking away from other kids. So the average kid gets what, 25, 30% maybe toward their college tuition, which means that the average baseball player needs to also be good in academics. So maybe you can get the money on the academic side. You follow me?
Yeah, anyway, I got you. I truly understand.
I could talk.
Right. I truly understand, Troy. And realistically, you know, a lot of you know, and a lot of you coach kids. My son, a prime example. He just showed up. If he didn't have the academics to actually get into college on his own, he wasn't getting an opportunity to play college baseball. You got to have the academics first to even get into school. And then with 35 guys on the team, and they only giving up 11.7 scholarships per team. Most of those scholarships, or the large majority of them, from my perspective, and y'all can chime in if you like, are going towards the pitchers. Rob, what do you think about that? Can you hear me? I guess you can.
Unmute. Rob, you're muted.
Yeah, now. All right, you got me now? Yeah, I agree. I agree with everything all you guys said, and the percentage of the scholarship is really interesting. We were talking about that earlier. You know, a quarter, a third to a quarter. It makes the baseball player automatically a more cerebral athlete because you got to have your books together. And that going to the pitchers, isn't it always that way? You know, the pitcher getting all the glory. He's showing up every 3 days, every 4 days. But no, I think what it is they're not developing us, and the game is really expensive. I mean, really expensive. We've all been in different areas. I've done the T-ball thing, and I was just lucky enough. I'm not like a great coach or anything like that. I was lucky enough to hang on to some kids that really wanted to do something. And I know what you mean by hand them off, because they get to the point where they get beyond you. And a good parent will go ahead and take that child to the next level if you're not going to let them go. I'm hoping that's what's happening. You know, I've seen them come and go. I've seen them come up to me and then keep on going. Right. You know, and yeah, it's a real tough situation for baseball. Really tough situation, and tough for us.
And Troy, getting back to your comment in reference to have the amount of money to actually play and develop your players. I know myself with my son, I sent him to private pitching lessons, private hitting lessons. That's outside of paying for equipment. So if you don't have the economic wherewithal to like allow him to go to the next level, like you said, Coach Corey, to let him go, or Coach Troy, to let him go. I remember we had Daryl Smith was a pitcher, was giving Derrick pitching instructions. I had my man how can I forget his name? Outfielder from the Orioles, giving them hitting instructions. And we also had another former minor league player giving them hitting instructions. Yeah, Bunbury. I had Al Bunbury giving them hitting instructions. So, like you say, you get to a point, man, you got to let them go, but you got to pay for that additional instruction.
And Derrick, we have Phillips Academy here. Brandon Phillips. He was a second baseman played for the Braves and Cincinnati Reds. His father has an academy here. They do the same thing, and it costs. Trust me.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, Rob, on the academy. Do you guys know? You guys know because y'all baseball guys. But the average person don't know that Major League Baseball has developed over 50 baseball academies in Latin America since 1986, where they've invested like $5 to $7 million for each academy to help develop these players. But yet they've only developed 10 baseball academies, and they call them urban youth academies in America. They've only developed 10 since 2006. So those are one of the main reasons right now you have over 30% of Major League Baseball players are of Latin American descent.
Yep.
What are your thoughts on that?
Don't get confused when you look out at a game and see all these folks that look like you. I'm just saying. I remember talking to Troy one time, and he slid in the second, and the second baseman or shortstop said something to him, and he turned around. And they both laughed because they didn't know they were black. They just assumed they were Latin.
Wow!
Because everybody else on the field was Latin. You know what I'm saying? The guy said something in English, and but you're right. You're right. And I don't know whether it's because, for instance, they go to school, they can have their camps or their training academies set up in a way that we can't here too. So let's understand that. We can't your son couldn't go to a camp starting at 14 all day long and then get a little
Right.
bit of education on the side.
Right.
That wouldn't be allowed here, you know. So that's one of the reasons that it's like that too. We also, I think, are looking at the money side where, yeah, you got some Latin players that come over here and become millionaires, you know, that are signed because their draft system is different than our draft system. But a lot of them are here on a visa, and this is their ticket, and they hardly, you know, let me add to it, the Latin players who've made it support them. A lot of those guys that you see didn't have a whole lot when they came here. They were invited, or they got a little contract just to come and try out or try to be a part of a team. They didn't have bats and sliders and all the other equipment that we may have gotten, but they had a key Latin player who took care of them. Now I found out about that. They would say, "Oh yeah, so and so came and took all of them out to dinner."
Mm.
You know, they may live together. They cook. They come from a different setting, so they deal differently. I don't want to get into that part of it, but yeah, they just look at it where you may know kids who were drafted, who got a call, put that way, didn't get drafted, but got a call, and they offered them, say 300,000, and they said, "No, I want 700,000." You know what they say? "All right, we'll give you a call back," and that phone never rings again. As opposed to saying, "I'll take the 300,000 and take my chance."
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's kind of hard in this segment to get into detail of that, but we tend to want a little more. And Lord knows we spent the money trying to get there.
I know I've read this book, From Sugar Canes to the Diamonds, talking about the Dominican lifestyle in baseball and how they were signing kids 13 years old for $5,000 and $10,000 and having them go to school for 3 hours out of the day and play baseball, like you say, Troy, for the other 5 hours.
Right.
There's no way an African American family is going to sign his kid for no $5,000 or $10,000. No, that's not happening in our community. And I honestly feel like we've basically been replaced from an economic and business perspective. You can get 10 Dominicans to sign on a contract versus one African American. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, and they make it an investment. I mean, and you and I make, well, not us, but if we were in the DR and we saw a kid and, you know, that we thought was promising, we go talk to his parents and we basically say, "Look, you signed this contract, we're going to pay for everything, all his training, all it, but if he makes it, we want 80% of his contract, 80-90% of his contract." Yeah. So
the development in the Latin countries or the Latin areas, it kind of shows you where their priorities are. I mean, if there was that's where they see value. So they don't see value in the African American community. They don't see value in the city jurisdictions. They don't see value in that. So that's why there's no investment. That's why there's no real resources from the powers that be, so to speak, and that's why they invest other places, because that's where they see the value. And just like the NCAA with baseball, they don't see the value in it, even though baseball draws the second most revenue. A lot of people don't know that because of the monies that's made through the regionals, and all that stuff goes to the NCAA. But even still, that baseball is kind of targeted with, we're still only giving you 11.7 scholarships. So it's just not a priority from the top down. And so us trying to we got to have people on the ground trying to push through to make baseball a priority for the higher ups and make baseball a priority for these kids within the inner city who don't see the value of it themselves.
Right.
Hmm.
And
Well,
that's
let me say this. Yeah, that's the tough pill to swallow. My understanding is Major League Baseball is going to reduce the draft, the quantity of rounds from 40 to 20.
Yep.
And they're going to, in that reduction, they're going to supplement it by drafting more college players. Now, if we ain't getting into college, what's the effect on us even getting in the league now? Our chances of getting drafted maybe in the 38th round is gone because now they're only going to draft up to the 20th round. Then the next 20 rounds, they're going to go draft the college kids. And we only making up 1 or 2 college players as it is on every team. What are you guys' thoughts on that?
Derrick, I'm going to tell you what I have started telling parents that come to me, and that is shoot for college. Don't shoot for the draft. Baseball, if it's going to happen, it'll happen. Get the education out the way. Get your education. If you happen to get drafted out of college, it's a beautiful thing. But I've watched through the years, I have played with really good. Parents that from our situation, from our standpoint, we just knew they were going to get drafted. Some of them, I know a couple of kids who got a couple $1 million in the draft that are free agents now because it just didn't work out. These are high school guys, man. If they did the right thing with the money, they should be fine. But going back to being drafted out of high school in the 40th round, 32nd round, 25th round, you hit the field. You got a uphill battle from day one. And if you didn't get the college side straight and you drafted that far out, you don't even have any college money. It's not in your contract. Troy at least has his college tuition money set aside. So if baseball doesn't work out, he can still go to college. But once you get in past that 10th round, 11th round, 12th round, that's a hard piece to get put into that contract. So I got a kid who graduated, mediocre student, got drafted 25th round, who doesn't make it. It's like starting over again. Say he stays in baseball for 5-6 years. Your contract is 7, but you make it to 6 years before they finally say, hey, it's not going to work out. What did I just do with 6 years of my life? I don't have no education, and if all I've been doing is playing baseball is all I know. I can try go to Mexico and play for a couple years, or maybe Australia. I'm just saying that the parents need to shoot for the education, get the education foundation straight, and let baseball be your vehicle on. But don't sell everything into baseball. I've seen it happen too much.
Yeah, I agree with the college route. I like
to.
I'm talking around. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Corey.
I said I agree with the college route. Part of the disadvantage for a lot of the kids is that the people that they are being coached by can't really draw on their experiences as players beyond a certain level. And like I'll sit in front of a group of 50 kids tomorrow, and I'll ask them, how many of you want to play at the next level? And 49 of them will raise their hand. And I can share with them, my college experience and how that, kind of changed and molded and shaped my life. And some of them want those experiences. I think we've gotten to the point where people are realizing that, you can use baseball, like Troy said, to help you get there, but that's probably not what's going to keep you there. So you gotta talk about your education. I have one of my former players was not the greatest player in the world, but he had the best grades, and he was able to secure that college scholarship for academics and go on to play baseball and have really talented kids who didn't have a shot because their grades were shot. And so we kind of have to approach things with that angle here for me anyway, because that's kind of, things can happen from there, but you got to get to that point. And coincidentally, I speak to college coaches all the time, and they are looking for the black ball player, and they can't find them. They can't find them. That's why you look around all these HBCUs, you see the majority of teams are not black players, and so they're looking for them. We just got to do a better job identifying those players that could play at that next level.
Derrick, I was a part of. Robert, were you going to say something?
Yeah, I was going to say something. It was interesting that he said that, because I spent probably the last 3 years of my actual coaching recruiting for Tuskegee, Morehouse, and Clark. And what I do is I'd have a showcase because I knew all the kids. Well, the way the numbers break down, maybe only 20% of the kids that played high school baseball were playing summer baseball because of the cost, because of the lack of teams, whatever it was. And most of our real baseball was happening in East Cobb, which is like across town for us. We were on the east side. They're actually on the west side. But what I would do is I would make sure that we'd have a showcase, and these kids who thought they were going to go Division I or B or were picked low in the draft, they would at least get a chance to show themselves in front of these 3 schools. And trust me, these schools were happy to see them. It really tripped me out because it's a revolving door. For them, these kids stay about 2 years. Either they're there to play baseball and they're not taking care of the academics. And I mean, always they see kids for 2 years and hardly any of them are finishing. And yeah, you're right. Other people, you'd be surprised. I went to a lot of HBCU games over the last 10 years, and a lot of the kids are Latino in some of the other HBCUs.
Yeah. I was a part of. I was a part of an organization. I'm gonna be real quick. That I left a couple years ago because I was the only black board member. They did not see the importance of education. It was all about baseball, and I would walk around and talk to the parents. And I'll be honest, you'll figure out who it was. I was the only black board member, all white coaches, and they just didn't understand that baseball, the character that needed to come out of it. There's a real quick story. I'm not going to mention his name, but there was a coach who they had a problem with, who he didn't ridicule, but he kind of ridiculed the kid because he had his hat turned sideways. He was playing second like this or something. And this coach had a real problem with it. Well, the director pulled the coach up and he brought it to the board. He said, I don't understand why that's such a big deal. And I'm saying, because you're a white dude. That black kid can't show up at a workout with earrings in his ears and his hat turned sideways. He didn't understand that. And they would look at me like I had, but
he was speaking French.
Huh? Yeah. It's
like he was speaking French.
Corey, you know who I'm talking about. But yeah. And I had to say, I'm out of here. I'm out of here. And
wow.
I felt bad because they had a lot of kids. And I'm going to speak to Corey, Baltimore City high school coach, that baseball is the end of the school year. So you can't get away like football, where you can get to play half your season, I guess, if your grades are cutting it. By the time you get to baseball, if you screwing up, you may not play baseball in that final semester.
That's right.
And that was a problem that a couple of the coaches who were involved were saying, where is the education piece? We're doing all this working out, and we're down the harbor throwing the ball around at the harbor. But these kids can't make their baseball. Well, they can make the baseball team, but their academics keep them from playing baseball in high school.
Mm.
And we all know the worst thing you can do in baseball is miss a season.
Yeah.
Can't miss a season.
I know on the HBCU side, my son ended up playing at Winston-Salem. And most HBCU teams, maybe they aren't in Atlanta, Rob, but all the ones I've seen up here, most of them had white coaches, and they was recruiting from their community. They wasn't recruiting our kids.
Yeah, I saw that too, but not there, not necessarily at Morehouse or at even Tuskegee. Right. I know the guy at Tuskegee even better, and I went to Morehouse, but most of my kids, for some reason, wound up going to Tuskegee. They were black.
I had a kid that played at Tuskegee, and he was a great student too. Went to Randallstown High School. Was a pitcher at Tuskegee, left-handed. Ended up going to grad school at A&T. Yeah.
My last kid is graduating this year. I had maybe 4 or 5 over the last 3 years to graduate. Morehouse maybe 3 or 4. Clark, twins. And then speckled other. Like I got some kids that went to Jackson State, and Jackson State has all kinds of kids. You know, I mean, once you start going to the once you start going west of Georgia, man, you know, I mean, you even see Latino people in the band. It's changing up.
Okay.
You know, and HBCUs have never been all black.
Right.
You know, it's never been just for black people. It was just started by black people.
Right. Well,
and
nowadays,
soccer program. Oh my God! You think baseball's like that? You should see the soccer program. Either African or whatever else.
So let's get back to this economic component of Major League Baseball investing in our community. Because as we presently speak, 31 of the top 100 players in Major League Baseball are Hispanic or Latin Americans. And I think that's contributed solely to the fact that they've invested those monies into those 50 or so academies years ago. And we only have 10 academies throughout our whole country. They got 30 to 35 in the state the size of New York. I'm talking about the Dominican Republic. That's a great amount of cash that's infused into that state economy. When you bring in that much money, that much influence, that much developmental opportunities that we just aren't getting. I mean, the last Urban Youth Academy, I think, was developed in 2014 with the plans on developing more in the near future, but it's like they slow walking it. It's like, you know, they ain't no biggie. You know, it's almost like we got our employment base.
Well, they don't. That's what I was saying earlier. They don't. There's no value, and there's no perceived value in investing in us. Their perceived value is in the Latin countries. That's where they see the value. So we somehow, some way, some shape or form, we have got to make them see the value, and that's so much bigger than baseball. That's just in us as a people, but we got to fight a little. We got to fight a lot harder that way, and through baseball and whatever else. They just don't see the value in it. So we've got to create our own value, and you know, we almost have to do it in spite of.
Yeah, I agree, man. We have to keep maintaining our leagues, you know, our younger leagues, to keep kids coming through, because not every kid's going to be able to run up and down that basketball court. Not every kid's
play football.
want to sacrifice their hips, in football, or get hit upside the head in football.
Yeah, I guess
That's so true.
talking about the value, we need to value baseball.
Well, let me ask you guys.
It's a much longer
bring up
conversation. Go ahead.
You bring up an interesting point. Okay, they're supposed to be placing these academies. I don't know how they pick and choose where these academies go, but I know at one time Frank Robinson was the head of Urban Youth Academy. Baltimore, I was trying to get them to bring one here to Baltimore, but we never got on the map. They did one in Philly, they did one in DC. But why wouldn't they do one here? In Baltimore?
There's some artificial field somewhere in the city. I think they did one here.
Now typically they build stadiums. They build stadiums associated with them.
It's still not properly funded.
Okay.
It's like RBI. How was RBI in Baltimore?
RBI
league in Baltimore.
It was terrible. Man. It's almost like they threw T-shirts, a ball, and a bat out there and said play baseball, and it make it look like they did something.
What they did. That's what they did.
Then make it look like they did something. And, I would always have my kids. We would play in the league, but we were playing two other leagues at the same time.
Right.
So we knew we wasn't interested in RBI. No, we're gonna go play in these. We show up in our full uniforms because we playing in other leagues, other tournaments, and the RBI kids got on T-shirts, and the leaders of RBI would look at us. Well, who do y'all think y'all are? I mean, we baseball players. What you mean? This is how we roll. So they used to kind of hold that against us. But anyway, I don't want to get off on that tangent. But let me ask you guys this. This guy that just came up from the minors, Akil Badu, had 3 at-bats from Detroit. Yeah. Hit a home run, hit a grand slam, and hit a walk-off single to win the game in the last 3 games. Just came up from the minors. African-American. From Georgia, Rob.
I don't think he played Double-A. He got hurt.
Right.
He's a Rule 5 guy.
Rule 5, exactly.
Yep.
What's it take? 4 years to get to be a free agent? Just 4 years? If he can hold on,
right.
4 years, his life will change.
Well, right. Well, they gave him an opportunity. This brother showed up. Just imagine how many other brothers is down in minor leagues not getting that opportunity, man, because they supposedly had so much talent ahead of them. And that's all subjective from my perspective too.
Man, we have a family. We got a family. This kid, Curtis Terry. His mom, college educated. She's all about education. But this kid got picked in the 13th round. And they signed some kind of contract saying that if in 5 years he hadn't made it to wherever, he would be able to go back to college, go to Georgia State. That was the school that recruited him and all. And this kid had got to be the 5th year. And he got called up. Usually, we've seen it before. Usually, it never really works out. It's so rare that you get to the big leagues. And we've watched the kid, see his dream come true. But, he's 6'3", like 260 something. He's all muscle. He's been that kid for us. But, just to see him go all the way through, it's been amazing, man. It's so many people that never get past Double-A. I mean, never get out of. I mean, it is so tough in baseball. We need somebody to reach back and invest into baseball because baseball is very expensive. The winter workouts, you got to keep in the cages, you got to keep on the tee, you got to keep that craft up because that's what they're doing. That's what the other folks are doing. And it's a very competitive sport.
I agree with you 100%. But my question is, if you got a check for, I don't know, $50 million, what would you do with it? How would you apply that to baseball now? to help your challenge? Where would you put that money? Would it be in coaches? Would it be in facilities? Would it be in providing equipment? Because you can't. What's the place in DC?
Baseball Academy.
The baseball academy. The Nationals
Urban
had
Youth Academy. Right. It's the Urban Youth Academy. Right.
They said that they took, I forgot how many years to even get kids to come in. I mean, they built it thinking that we built it, they will come. They couldn't get the kids to come for a long time. And they had education programs, after school programs. It wasn't just baseball.
Well, let me answer you.
Well, I think that's a. I don't mean to interrupt you, Rob, but I think that's a reflection on their inability to connect with the community.
Oh, it was.
They should already have. They should already have a cachet of coaches, programs, whether it been high school, little league, travel team. They should have had a cachet of
I agree. I agree with you. But if that had been a football field, they would have been packed. That had been a football field with some basketball courts over there.
Right. I've been over there. I had a couple teams play over there.
Yep. But Robert, go ahead.
Oh no, I was I mean, it's like this is like a little different place because I've lived in Baltimore, and because all of my personal time in sports was spent in Baltimore, spent in the Woodlawn area, and in Owens Mills. But after having lived here and having to do it myself and be the parent myself, I was lucky enough to have parents that were like me, had my kid kind of late in life. And my wife and I, we were dual income, corporate level, college educated, and having our kids later in life and able to invest into what it costs because I know it from the level of being a parent, which I know you know it from. We have a place here called Better Baseball. I don't know if you guys use it. I don't know if Polly used it, but Better Baseball is the go-to place that has baseball everything. From balls to cages to any color uniforms, any color catcher's equipment, all of the best of the best. And I know what it costs from a parent standpoint with these $300 and $400 bats, metal bats. I've been through with my son from T-ball all the way through high school, where they're still using aluminum bats in high school. But when they got with me, from the age of 13 through 18, we mostly played in wood bat tournaments. And we were going through bats. It was almost costing as much because kids are breaking bats, and bats were costing $90 and $50. And we getting hickory, we getting this, and we're playing in all these tournaments where we're in a 64-team tournament where only 2 teams look like us, all black. And that's only because we had enough parents that could afford to have us there. When we first started going there, the tournaments were $500. When we stopped going there, they were $1,800 for the weekend. Every weekend we go out. So the money that is costing a parent is crazy. Now, if you're from a state that doesn't have perfect game, then you have to travel. So we knew mostly other people traveling to Texas, Florida, Georgia, because that's where Perfect Game was going on and Triple Crown was going on. And we knew people were coming across the country and staying in the hotels and stuff. That shit's expensive, So where the team works out, because what we had to do as parents was we couldn't afford to do what the white people were doing. I didn't even, because I was the man, I ran the whole program. We didn't even do that. We would get a damn warehouse or somebody who knew where a warehouse was or an empty warehouse. And then we would fix that thing up, hang the nets and do a whole winter thing. And every, at least 3-4 times a week during the winter, we'd have the kids on the tee or in the cage and working out because we knew that who we were competing against was doing that. Now, I had mostly kids that did play multiple sports, but as they got older, when they got more and more serious, and then as my team matured, we were getting kids that played baseball only. My problem was, and you know how it is, pitching.
Yep.
They're gonna go to these white teams that have the money to and have the facilities, and we were makeshift jerry rigging. I wasn't asking you for that much money, but we would split it up every tournament we go to, and we had to do it a week ahead of time so that we can send the money. The money, the investment is crazy. I've been on the board of our park to run the park in the field that we practiced on year after year after it grew over during the winter. And we're y'all get a winter. We don't even get no winter. But the grass still grows over. The maintenance of all of that, where they play, the fields they get on, getting those rocks off the field, putting the mixture in the dirt, the lime. Running the program, man, baseball is hard. Then we're going to MJBL like y'all going to MJBL. We're going to the white tournaments too. We getting World Series invites to Arizona, but I can't get my kids to Arizona for the USSSA World Series that we earned our way into because the money they're giving us only covers going out there in a van from Georgia to Arizona. Couldn't do that to the kids. So we go to MJBL, a place where I know my kids can go and we can win the whole damn tournament. And we go and have a ball, win the tournament after I run a program where if we win 50% of the time, we are on it, loving it.
And Robert,
we're doing that damn thing.
You know how baseball
is. If you was
turn around and look into the stands to see what scouts were there.
Oh yeah, man. That's the only reason why we played in the tournaments that we played in.
Yeah. So.
Because of the scouts. We're up in Cartersville at the Perfect Game headquarters. Where we're playing on field number 15. Out of multiple fields and stuff. Right. And we're playing on the whole environment is turf. All the soccer fields, everything, nothing is natural grass. Whole place is turf. But we're there because all of the SEC schools are there. All of the ACC schools are there. All of the scouts for, the minor league programs, all of the, the instructional league scouts are all out there. And we had to play in those tournaments or I was going to lose kids.
Right.
Or they were going to go play for the white teams.
Right.
And then my son wanted to compete. I'm only out there because my son's out there.
Oh, yeah.
So, trust me, the money, I've been there. I broke my
the competition, which you're up against.
You got to raise funds.
You talked about pitchers. Troy's last travel team, or the travel team you played with the most, we flew pitchers in. We flew pitchers in.
I know.
And they could come from California.
What was the name of the team?
The Canes.
Troy, what was the name of this team?
The Canes.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
The Canes. They flew pitchers in. A lot of that team was put together. People say, where you practice? We didn't practice. They were told where to be, what the hotel was, and the team could shift around. I mean, you show up, you got a different, but when you came to play your position.
Right.
There were no practices between the guys. They knew each other. But yeah, we used to laugh at the bus, the pitcher for the second game, sat in the bus the whole game. I mean, he didn't even sit on the field. He would sit in the bus in his shorts where it was cool. And it was time for him to pitch. I mean, it was just the stuff that happens at the other level.
What's crazy? I would see the rosters come up. And I know how the rosters be changing because kids be coming in and out. There's a designation that says PO. You know what PO stands for? Pitcher only.
Oh, pitcher only. Yeah. Pitcher only.
Pitcher only, where this kid is only coming to pitch. Now he's at the 15-year-old level, 16-year-old level, 17-year-old level, but he's not going to hit. He's coming there. He's pitcher only. And the pitcher, like you said, you don't even know, the kids don't even know him.
Nope. There were parents that shop their kids out like that. And if you was like that, then they would pay, the Canes would pay for your son to come pitch in this tournament. I mean, you've heard of Jupiter.
Yes.
Wow.
Jupiter, Florida. Yes.
Jupiter was it. It was hard to find a parent walking around Jupiter because it was so full of coaches riding around in golf carts.
Yes.
And not coaches, but scouts riding around in golf carts.
Yes.
Let me ask y'all this.
I've Florida. I've done Florida, Tennessee, and Texas for kids.
Yeah, all of us have been involved, in baseball for a while.
Yeah.
But man, what about the people behind us, the generation behind us? I felt like we've lost 2 or 3 generations of baseball fans and potential baseball coaches. I mean, there's people out there asking for coaches now to coach the little league. But the guys coaching don't know baseball. I honestly feel like you need to have a coaching certification program in any kind of league before you put a guy on the field to say he's a coach. Because otherwise, if not, you doing this kid harm, and he becomes just a babysitter.
Let me answer that for you. This is what we did. And it's still in place. We did this years ago. You may see it on my bio. About back in 2004, we started for our county a middle school program where we went out to 16 middle schools and got them to form baseball programs. And we keep the baseball program going. And when we're looking for coaches, it's not that hard to find coaches because we get these travel team coaches and coaches that are just coaching in the league. Gives them a chance to have access to players, and they get involved, just the same way that that I got involved. But it does keep the kids that are playing baseball when they're 12 that still want to play baseball at a competitive level. We have them now playing middle school. But here we have middle school baseball, football, and basketball. And that keeps the kid, a little more involved. And then when they get to the high school level, they don't have that drop off, because that drop off can be severe. When you're going from that little 70-foot diamond to that 90-foot diamond, that throw from the second base in the hole is longer than what you knew third and short to be when you were growing up. So that change of that size of that field, man, it's good to stay with the kids all the way through that age when they're going from 12 years old into their puberty and their manhood. So a good middle school program or playing travel ball at the middle school age really helps kids along, and it helps your programs along when you get to the high school level.
Yeah, I found that to be true. I know here in Baltimore, they barely have a lot of JVs now. Certain programs don't even have JV. Now they'll do a middle school basketball team. They got middle school basketball teams all over the place. But baseball, they're not doing it, unfortunately. And it's sad. I know
basketball, how we losing out to some of the athletes of being basketball players. We kind of skipped over that, and we're talking about the basic things that we can actually control. But we are losing a lot to AAU basketball as well.
Well, not just basketball, but now they got this 7-man, 7-on-7 spring football going now too.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Which I think is crazy. To be honest, my perspective from an athletic perspective, you would want to play a different sport. You don't want to play the same sport all year long because now you're using and reusing and exercising the same muscles and tendons all year long. You're going to be more susceptible to injury from my perspective if you're using those same muscles over and over and over all year versus transitioning from one sport to another. And Troy, maybe you can speak to this, or Corey, or even you, Rob. My understanding is most college coaches, they want athletes anyway. They looking for athletes. because the athlete, I could place him. He might have played second base in high school, but he's got an arm. I could put him in outfield in college. What do you guys thoughts on that?
Corey's gonna go for that. He's not saying that.
They definitely like multi-sport athletes because kind of in baseball it directly correlates to their footwork. If you have a basketball player, he's probably pretty athletic, probably has good feet. You can probably use him in multiple ways, and it just speaks to more of his total his mental makeup as well, because he can adapt to different environments because he plays different sports. So I think that is a plus. I think what happens with basketball is the sexier sport in terms of viewability for our parents, for our kids. I have kids that would rather ride the bench on a basketball team than come be the man on the baseball team, just because they get more girls on the bench wearing the basketball uniform. And that's not something that I could ever understand. But then that becomes the job of me as a coach to make this kid understand the value of himself and the potential that he has and the value of the game. And to you really can't make them love it, but you got to make them see the potential and the value. So we are losing to some other sports, and college coaches do really like athletes that play multiple sports.
Yeah, I was gonna say that the only thing I can remember hearing is they frowned upon a baseball scout frowned upon a guy that played football. They loved the track guy. If you ran track, that led right into the baseball season. Basketball wasn't too bad either. But the thing I wanted to mention is that what I found in baseball in talking to scouts. Now, I didn't go to football routes. I can't speak about that or basketball, so it may be the same. But the whole pedigree thing, like Derrick, if Derrick Jr. was 5'6" at 16, and then they meet you, they're projecting what he's going to look like. It was funny. They would say, well, they already are projecting. They want to see the parents to see what this kid is going to develop like. And he might not, his skill level, if he grew to be a monster, his skill level could somewhat be sacrificed, because they're like, man, we got that guy. The quick story, the Atlanta pitcher who drafted Troy's year, played soccer. And I can't remember where he's from. Tukey. Yeah, you should know Tukey, Robert. He's with the Braves. One of the Braves pitchers, young guy.
When?
But anyway,
currently?
Yeah. Tukey Toussaint. Anyway, he didn't play baseball until like his 11th. And it was almost like a bet or a dare or something with a friend of his who played baseball. He was a soccer player. And he could throw. The coach came over, high school coach, and said, let me see you throw that again. He could throw. Never played baseball. Tukey got drafted, I want to say maybe a second rounder, because he threw. And when that happened, he's what, 6'2", 6'3"? Look him up. But my point is they looked at him and said, we can make him into something, because he had the build, he had the stature, he was athletic. He's already, like I said, a soccer player. So that was a case where they didn't, he hadn't played till, since he was 8, 9 years old and traveled all over the place.
Well, in Atlanta, we swear by Deion Sanders that played 2 sports.
Yeah.
But in the defensive backfield was a brother from Baltimore named Brian Jordan.
Yeah.
Played safety.
Brian.
And he played I know y'all do. And he played baseball. And the Braves and the Braves and St. Louis.
Yep.
he
And
played
ain't
for
nothing
the
wrong with a brother
St.
that
Louis, the Dodgers.
ain't nothing wrong with a brother that can play 2 sports. at the professional
That's
level.
right.
Oh
And
yeah.
an All-Star and the Pro Bowl. Didn't go play in the Pro Bowl because he he had to go play some baseball.
Baseball.
He went and
Yeah.
made that money. He signed that contract that was baseball only, which was probably one of the smartest contracts he'd ever done in his life.
Yep.
Helped the CTE situation. Because
Guaranteed.
coming off of that safety, they're getting them the most to me. They're taking more hit on than anybody, the safeties and the linebacker.
Mm-hmm.
And the baseball contract is all guaranteed too.
All guaranteed.
All
They call it
guaranteed.
G's. Yeah. All G's. Guaranteed.
Mm.
I can't stand that about
gentlemen,
the NFL. Non-guaranteed contracts. That is, it's insane if you're risking that whole CTE thing.
Yep.
I give it to baseball. Here's the other thing I give to baseball. The Major League Baseball shares the TV money with the players. The owners do. The NFL owners, all of them make a profit. All of them make a profit. And it's like it used to be like $700-800 million off of the TV money.
Mm-hmm.
The NFL owners didn't share it they didn't use it to pay the roster. Baseball does, NHL does, and the NBA does. But the one that will give you CTE, they don't.
They will do it.
They don't share the TV money. No guaranteed contract.
Coach, Bobby, can you hear me, Bobby? Coach, can you hear him? I think he's had a problem with his mic all night.
Yeah, I think it's mic. Yeah, because you know what? It is actually, you got to move your mouse around if you're on a computer. I see mine up right now. But after a while, it'll go away. If you move your mouse around, you'll see the menu come up where you can mute it.
Okay, he's got to unmute it. I just wanted to give him a chance. I think we had him muted because we was getting feedback from his mic. There it goes. Look now. Say something, Coach. Yeah, he's still having issues. Yeah. Well, look, gentlemen, I don't mean to hold you guys all night. I appreciate your time, your energy, your effort. And like you say, Corey, everybody, man, we could talk this all night. We could go into 3 hours in this conversation.
Yeah. No, I was just going to say, yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. We can hear you now.
Yeah.
I think he's frozen. Looks like it's frozen.
Yeah, he keeps freezing up.
Yeah. Coach Corey, props to the BPI. I'm a poly man myself.
Okay.
Great to see you coaching over there. A good friend of mine is,
no, I was just going to say, you guys brought up a lot of great points. And, you're talking about youngsters playing baseball and why they're not, black kids aren't playing anymore. One of the biggest called frozen.
You keep breaking up.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I need a new computer.
Yeah, your memory. Corey, you had one of my former players, my man Desmond Ham.
Yeah, that's my guy to this day. Again, we get a lot of really good players, man. We are working. We're in the trenches here. We talked about a lot with cost and all that stuff. So we started our own little travel program here, me and a few guys with visions. And our goal is to provide this opportunity that our kids wouldn't typically have for half the price. And we are succeeding. We have about 60 kids in the pipeline from 14 to 17. We're looking to get a little younger so we can reach back into that community. And it's a never-ending job, man. And it's these kids are getting quality training and coaching all year long for one price. and that price does not exceed $2,000 per player at all. And that can be paid on all year long. So we aren't to try to make money. We want these kids to get the same experiences that we've had and get the same experiences some of our counterparts get for half the price. So applaud everybody that's putting in the work. And it's a thankless job sometimes, but we got to do it.
Hey, Corey.
Sir.
Corey,
Yes,
I want to
yes, sir.
see if I can help you guys.
Okay.
Are you familiar with the Poly basketball program?
Yes.
I'm sure you.
Okay. They have somebody that helped them out. Are you familiar with that?
Yes.
I know that guy real well.
Okay.
I know what the whole deal was.
I'll give you my number, and we'll talk offline. That's a whole different animal there. Yeah.
Let's do that. Yeah, I know him very. As a matter of fact, I was just with him last week.
Yeah.
All right.
That's a good thing. That's a good
get it to Derrick, and Derrick can get it to me.
Oh, yeah, I'll get you his information. I forgot to mention, Metropolitan Junior Baseball League is attempting to have their World Series again this year. You know when it is, Rob?
I don't know.
I think it's in August.
In about 3-4 years.
I talked to a few guys. They're supposed to be hosting it in Richmond.
In Richmond?
It's in Richmond. They're gonna host it in Richmond.
Okay.
And it's supposed to be
in Greensboro and
right.
And Orlando. In Orlando twice. Orlando, Florida.
Yeah, that's the organization that's been around for a while. I don't know, Corey, if you want to get your guys to a nice tournament where they bring in all these African American players from all over the country, teams.
Yeah,
get in that Metropolitan Baseball League tournament. And Richmond's not that far away. We've gone. I've taken teams down there before. We played at Bennett College one year in South Carolina.
National team, and a lot of the teams from the Bahamas, they try to take the top 2 Black team and Latino teams from every state in the union, and then they add in all of the Caribbean countries and any other countries that have Black people, and you'll see them all in a tournament in one city. I mean, when I first saw it, I was like, okay, I'm coming back. When I first saw it, my team, they were young. My son's team, they were probably about 10 years old, and we made it to the Final Four of the round of the age group that we played in. But it was one of the best experiences, man. One of the real best experiences, man. And they do go up to what, 17? Is it 17 or 18, Derrick?
I think it's 19.
Is it 19? Okay.
I think it's 19. Because they'll take some kids from the all-star team that they select, and they'll take them down to a tryout down in Cocoa Beach in Florida in the spring. So it's a great program, man. My hat's off to them. They've been doing that for a while. It was a great experience for my kids too. I mean, when we went to Richmond, we went to Bennett College in South Carolina. We actually stayed. They had to stay in the dorm at Bennett College. We ate at the cafeteria. We played on the field surrounding the college. You know, it was a good experience, man. It was a great experience for the kids. I mean, if you can't make it to them perfect
HBCU, every city they go to, they partner up with an HBCU.
Right. HBCU. I remember when it was in Greensboro, they partner up with A&T. Yeah, so
we had a ball there, and we played this. We won that tournament that year. I think my kids were 16, and we played the championship game in War Memorial Coliseum, the same field that Derek Jeter played on when he was in AA ball. I think AA or AAA ball came through there.
Wow.
It was right around
Well, look,
the corner
I wanna
from the HBCU, in the same neighborhood as the HBCU.
Right. I want to
I think
thank you
they
guys
used
for
that
joining me
field,
tonight.
too. HBCU used the field.
Appreciate you, man. I think Donnie wants to try to do something Thursday morning if we can. I don't know if you're available. Thursday is actual April the 15th, Jackie Robinson's Day. It's the 74th anniversary from his year of breaking into the major leagues on Thursday this year. Next year will be the 75th. Can you believe that? 75 years. And wow, man, all the stuff we still going through. Even though we broke into the league, where will we be now if we had maintained all those Negro League baseball teams? We'd have our own minor league system, wouldn't we? If we maintain our Negro League teams, they will be coming to our games. They will be coming to our league to recruit players and vice versa. But the historical and sad thing about that, of all those Negro League teams, I don't know if you guys know this, I was on the board for a Negro League baseball museum called the Hubert Simmons Museum. Of all the Negro League baseball teams, only one person owned their own stadium, and that was Gus Greenlee from the Pittsburgh Crawfords. He was the only owner of his own stadium. All the other teams used the stadiums of the Major League Baseball teams when they weren't there. And for allowing them to use their stadiums, the Major League team would keep the gate and the concessions.
Right.
So Gus Greenlee, this is a historical perspective, was the only Negro League owner that actually owned his stadium. And to be honest, that's the one of the most respectful things Pittsburgh has done from my perspective as it relates to football. He taught, I don't know if you guys know this, he taught the owner of the Pittsburgh Steelers the art and the business of sport. That's why the Pittsburgh Crawfords colors are black and gold. Pittsburgh Steelers colors are black and gold. So the owner, I think it's Art Rooney. He learned how to operate a sports team from Gus Greenlee. That's
I know
my historical tidbit.
You guys grew up in Baltimore when I did. I would imagine some of you might know the Golden family. There's a bunch of girls. One of the girls her name is Lee Golden.
I remember them.
You remember
them.
Golden girls, Brenda Golden?
Yeah.
Well, Lee, I had made some posts on Baltimore old photos about Negro League teams. And Lee got on and she said, Rob, she says, you'll never believe this. I said, what? She said, my family is from Nashville. And we got to Nashville because my grandfather or my great-grandfather, I think it was our grandfather, was the general manager of the Baltimore Elite Giants, Negro League team.
Wow.
That's why we moved to Baltimore. We moved with the team.
Wow.
I was like, really?
Wow.
She says, yeah. Yeah, there you go, right there. Yep.
Wow. That's right.
So what we got the Elite Giants and
the Baltimore Black Sox.
I know, I'm looking for my hat. There you go.
Man, to me, that's one thing Major League Baseball could do. They really want to affect our community. They really want to infuse an interest into baseball back into our community. Reinvigorate a Negro League baseball team in every city that used to have one. And make that an academy attached to it. Bring the dollars to the city. There you will get generations of people that will want to help the program survive and thrive, because you have grandfathers, grandmothers, you have uncles, aunts, fathers, mothers. If you brought those Negro League baseball teams back to our communities and created our own league, then and only then are we going to attempt to additionally, I think, grow baseball within our community. Because see, then at that point we would see we would have a vested interest in the programs and in each team. That's just my thoughts.
The idea.
Let me get off my soapbox.
I like the idea. But I think that would be something that we would have to do.
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna go back to something that Corey said a couple times. What is in it for them? You know, there's nothing.
Right.
They got theirs. You know, they're doing fine. You know, we're like knocking at the door saying, "Let us in." But yeah, I like the idea. I just wish that it would be something that we could put together and start. It would have to come that way. And you're right. We would fill the place. I remember having, you know, Leon Day started doing stuff down at Leon Day's field, and people were walking down from the apartments. They said they had never seen the lights on in a baseball game. It was always a football over there. And not to put a shadow on it, but shortly after that, you know what happened to Leon Day Field? I hate putting this out there like that. Somebody stole all the aluminum benches. They didn't know the baseball.
That happened before too.
They didn't know the benches were bad. Y'all turned the lights on.
Guess who it was? Of all people, I will not bullshit you. It was the Mexican League of Soccer Players in our park. They saw we left early and they stayed late. Sometimes they would have their cars and they would shine the light on the field.
On the field, yeah. Yep.
Then we had, and this wasn't that long ago, we put a damn camera up and saw them dismantling the stuff, driving their trucks up to it, loading their trucks up. The same guys that was playing soccer on our farther. We have a 77-acre park, and they were on the farther fields away. We got like maybe 4 football fields and maybe like 7 or 8 soccer fields. They got all of the bleachers, all of the aluminum bleachers.
Well, they took all the aluminum off the field, and it was a diamond in the rough. Most people didn't even know it was back there, unless you played Corey. You probably played, I think, Carver down at that field, but nobody knew about that field.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I know. This is one of the last things I'm gonna say because they're giving us the 5-minute warning. I know Park Heights had a field that was developed by Cal Ripken. You know, Cal Ripken has done a few fields in our city and in our community. But this particular baseball field, C.C. Jackson, had been on and operating for 3 years, and nobody ever played baseball. And 2 years ago, I helped. 2 years ago, I helped one of my frat brothers, George Mitchell, bless his soul. He just passed last July. Start the Baltimore Black Sox Little League program over there, and we went and got equipment from this place in Silver Spring, where they would donate all used equipment. We filled up our trucks and brought them all back to Park Heights, so the kids didn't have to buy nothing. We had gloves and bats and balls. All they had to do was come out and play, and man, just see the joy on a lot of those kids trying to play baseball. You know, it was satisfying. And then I invited a few teams down from a Liberty Road program. Actually, I invited a few teams down from Liberty Road to use their field and show them how the game is supposed to be played. And we play under the lights at their field that they had never used before. And naturally, our kids loved playing under the lights. And then the kids in the community of Park Heights and the parents, you know, they came out to watch the game. So you're right, Troy. If it's something that's going to happen, man, it's going to be something that I guess we're going to have to do ourselves.
Yep. Again, that goes back to the aesthetics, man. It goes back to the aesthetics. If it doesn't look good, our kids ain't coming. So we drive around. You can drive around this city. You'll see grass growing in all the fields. You'll see no fences. I mean, it's just we got to do better. We got to do better.
Corporate sponsors.
Well, thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate you. Thanks for your time. Like you say, we got to do better.
Yeah,
Troy,
Coach Rob, I'll be reaching out to you.
Jr., man.
All right.
I'm looking forward to him. Where's he at? He's in Pittsburgh now, right?
He's in Pittsburgh. Yep.
He's on the major team.
Nah, he's in AAA. He's in the trip. Yeah, they're in the taxi thing. AAA season doesn't start till May. So
so he'll be coming down to Charlotte's got a AAA Chicago White Sox team, and Derrick said he's gonna check Troy out when he get there.
All right.
They call it the Charlotte.
Hopefully he won't still be there, but if he is,
yeah, I hope he ain't neither. I hope he's not neither, to be honest. But if he is, we'll make sure. I'll make sure Derrick come out.
All right.
Thanks, Rob. Appreciate you. Thanks, Corey.
All right, take it
Definitely
easy, man.
appreciate you. What I'm
All right.
gonna do, I'm gonna get